This week's guest has one of the top 100 most romantic restaurants in America, and we're sitting down to have a conversation. I'm Michael J., and this is the Pre-Show tailored by Tweeds. What's going on, Sarasota? This is the Pre-Show tailored by Tweeds. If you're looking to level up your style, Tweeds has got you covered. We do custom suits, sport coats, shirts, and jeans. Check us out at one of our 3 locations in downtown Sarasota, in Tampa, next to the Oxford Exchange, and also coming soon to Central Avenue in St. Pete. So, Michael, for those who may not have had the opportunity of visiting Michael's on East, tell us a little bit about what they can expect their experience to be like.
Well, we've been in business for 38 years now, and so you hope that we're getting it right at this point. It's a very special place. It's a throwback. The interior design is a throwback to the 30s and 40s, those classic clubs in New York and Chicago. Try to take people away to another time and place. The food is fabulous. It's a very interesting menu that's from everything from great seafood and steaks to some really creative dishes. It's a very romantic setting, hence I think the reason that we were selected in that category. And the service it's a very special team. A lot of our team has been with us 25 years. It's a super professional team and a very simple philosophy of we run our business from our guest point of view. You hear a lot of people say that, but very few places really go to the effort that we do to make sure that that's really happening. So it's an exceptional dining experience all the way through. Very romantic setting inside. We also have a beautiful lit atrium outside under the trees, glass-covered atrium that's really a very romantic spot to dine.
Okay, so speaking on like romantic, I mentioned in the intro, you're voted one of the top 100 most romantic restaurants in America. How did that come about? And also, what makes your establishment a place for couples to visit?
Well, it was done through Open Table, which is the company that does the online reservations, and so it was voted on by all of the guests that had been to our restaurant. And so they sent out a questionnaire and asked people all kinds of different questions, but one of them was romantic restaurants, and our name popped up big on that. It was a complete and wonderful surprise to us. It's brought a lot of attention, and we are the kind of place where a couple can go have a romantic dinner. The lighting is very comfortable. The noise level is medium, I would say. We have live music. We have a wonderful piano player in our lounge. It's a beautiful place to have drinks before dinner. Like I mentioned, the outdoor atrium is very romantic out there. The lighting is incredible. And we also have a pianist out there on the weekends.
All right. Now, I understand you're the guy behind Forks and Corks.
Yes, I am.
Can you give us a small tidbit about that?
Well, Forks and Corks is a celebration of all things local restaurants.
Okay.
It comes out of an organization that I helped create 20 years ago called the Sarasota Manatee Originals. And so we wanted to have a way to showcase the fabulous food in Sarasota and Manatee counties through our locally owned independent restaurants. So there are 62 independently owned restaurants from the tip of Anna Maria Island to Venice Pass that all work together. And we created Forks and Corks to celebrate the cuisine and restaurants of our region, partnered with some of the greatest wineries in the world that come to join us at the most incredible location you could have an event like that. The main event is in the courtyard of the Ringling Museum.
A few months back, the SpeaX crew sat down with the owner of Selby Gardens, and we understand that you have the Green Orchid next to Michael's on East. Can you tell us a little bit about that and also give us a small taste of the menu?
So the Green Orchid by Michael's on East is part of the Phase 1 renovations of Selby Gardens, a huge project that's been 5 years in the making. So it's a beautiful restaurant set in the gardens that's very unique in a special way. It is the first net positive solar powered restaurant in the world.
Wow.
Meaning there's no fire, there's no gas in that kitchen. Everything is electric and induction. The menu is not only farm to table, but the entire roof of the restaurant is a planted, managed, organized, producing garden.
Okay.
It's managed by a group of veterans called Operation EcoVets, and they have planned it, managed it, and it produces. This morning they brought down about 15 pounds of beautiful tomatoes, another 10 pounds of eggplant. All of our fresh herbs come from our gardens there. Beautiful lettuces. So the menu is very much farm to table. Beautiful salads. Refreshing drinks. It's got a full bar. We have a beautiful wine list there. In fact, the wine list, every wine on the list is either sustainable, organic, or biodynamic. And some of the greatest wineries in the world have taken those, have gone to those efforts. And so the wines are very special. The non-alcoholic drinks that we make use a lot of the fresh herbs and spices that come out of our garden too. So it's a great experience. And we just recently introduced Saturday and Sunday brunch menu to go along with our regular menu. So a new Sarasota tradition is emerging, brunch at the Green Orchid.
All right, everyone, that is going to do it for the pre-show, tailored by Tweeds. Be sure to check us out at tweedsuitshop.com and stay tuned for a sneak peek of this week's podcast.
So we talked a little bit about the restaurant. Obviously, we could talk about that for the entire length of the podcast. But what about the wine cellar? Let's talk about that a little bit, because Michael's on East. Obviously, great food, wine cellar, everything after, right?
Well, wine and spirits is a great passion of mine, especially wine.
Yeah.
Being able to be trained in New Orleans about wines, and then coming back to Sarasota and building the great wine list at the Colony. Gave me access to incredible people in the industry. The wine industry is amazing around the world.
Yeah.
A side note is that my wife and I lead food and wine trips every year all over the world. We've led 42 groups to all parts of the earth for food and wine over the past 18 years, and so wine has been a great passion. And first had a wine shop on Osprey Avenue. And then there was space that opened up at Midtown that attached to where the back of the kitchen and the atrium and the ballroom was. And I went to Phil and I said, Phil, we got to get this space. I want to have a wine and spirits store right here. And he said, well, I think we need another banquet space too. We need more space for parties. And I said, what if we can do both? So I designed the store to be a store by day and an event space at night. Everything in the store, including the checkout counters, is on wheels.
It's crazy.
And we can move them. Eventually, the space next door opened up, and so we took that space and added to it. Really expanded the spirits side of it. So it really is a store by day and party room at night. It's the most romantic place for small events, up to 50, 60 people. We do a lot of wedding rehearsal dinners in there, wine dinners, wine tastings, monthly wine tastings in the store. Well, we'll have 40, 50 wines for people to taste with some nice small buffet of foods to go with it. And
any caviar?
Might be garnished with caviar.
There you go.
But
if you haven't been to that space, I've been to a few business events there, and it really is a striking space because the way you guys do the lighting, going all the way up the walls, and high ceilings.
20-foot high walls of wine and candlelit. They get up on the ladders and put candles all over the place. It's really fun. My office happens to be right up in the loft overlooking that. So I can keep an eye on things. I like to keep an eye on all my children.